All right, everybody. This is Kraevin with Late Nights with Kraevin, and we have Defiant in the house tonight, virtual all the way from Pennsylvania, I think it is, right, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you for joining me tonight. So I guess just to kick things off, go ahead and introduce yourselves to our viewers and just kind of give us your name and what you do in the band.
Hi, I'm Big Al. I do vocals and I do guitar. That's it. Occasionally I sing. Most of the time I scream.
I'm Joe. I play guitar.
Nice. So how did you guys form the band? How did it all get started?
So Joe had a thing going with a couple of guys. Our current bassist, Paul Barlowski, and another drummer who's not with the band anymore. And they were filtering through singers. And it originally just started as like a sort of hard rock cover act. And I was just scrolling through Craigslist one day, and they happened to have a Craigslist ad. Now, before Defiant, I was mainly a guitar player. I didn't really do a whole lot of singing, at least in a band setting. So I answered the ad. Was over later that week. We did a couple of songs. We liked what we heard, and everything just kind of went from there. We ended up moving from covers to more original stuff because I had some stuff written, Joe had some stuff written. The drummer that was in the band left to pursue other avenues, and we got our current drummer, Paul Cochran. The rest we kind of just been riding on the coattails of a fever dream.
That's awesome. That's cool. And that's amazing how you like actually found each other on Craigslist, because you never know what you're gonna get with Craigslist.
I was really hoping that it was going to be an R. Kelly situation I was walking into. But no, I had to join a band. So then I kind of was stuck, and I was like, well, I guess I have to be in this band now. So it's going to look weird if I'm walking in here expecting one thing.
Yeah. Well, and you could have ended up walking into like a Craigslist personals situation, right?
I don't think you're going to find that in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, but maybe some other places. You never know.
That's funny. So who does a majority of the like songwriting? Is it like collaborative, or does like one person kind of primarily take the lead songwriting role? Like, how does that all work out?
It's mainly collaborative. I mean, it goes one of two different ways. Either I have a piece of music, or Al has a complete song, or we just kind of throw a riff. Like, I think we really changed the way we did it over COVID when we couldn't be together. We would kind of send stuff, like little video clips of things back and forth and work on stuff. But Al does all the lyrics. So the music is kind of a mix between either Al, myself, and Paul Barlowski, our bass player. Sometimes there's a riff out there that we take. I think Wendy was actually Paul's riff originally. So yeah. That's the main dynamic. We kind of just start with a riff and go from there. Songwriting, I mean, lyrically, that's all Al, so you'd have to talk about that.
I mean, it's really just whatever the song, I think calls for. Most of the time, if not 99% of the time when we're writing music comes first, lyric comes after. I really don't ever write music with a particular idea in mind lyrically. Usually once the song's finished and arranged, at least roughly, I'll listen through it over and over, and I'll start to kind of get an image in my head of what I kind of want lyrically the song to be about. But yeah, it's very, very rare that I will actually sit down and like write a set of lyrics out and be like, okay, I want to write music to this. It's just not really the best way for me to work.
It's awesome. That's cool. For me, sometimes it's like I can do either or. Like sometimes I start out with the lyrics, sometimes I start out with like the music. And it's funny because sometimes those songs, like once you nail the melodies, do you find that sometimes they almost write themselves? Like they almost tell you like, hey, this is what I'm about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like once I kind of get, like a certain tune in my head or a hook, it's really easy for me to kind of find words that match. My problem is that I have like a few really like heavy catchphrases that I will constantly throw into songs that I have to pull out of songs because I'm like, well, I already said this exact same line in like 3 other songs, so I have to take this out and actually put work in to put something else in. There have been songs where it's just been easy. I've, sat down for 30 minutes and, lyrics are done and we're good. And then, there's other songs, a couple of songs we're working on right now, where it's really like a day-to-day process of me constantly going back and tweaking even single words at a time and running through, hoping that once they're finally recorded, the lyrics are going to be at a place where I'm satisfied with them and I'm not going to want to change them later.
Yeah. Yeah, I run into that myself sometimes. I think I have like 2 songs I've literally finished like morning of when we're supposed to be in the studio recording them. And I'm over there like eating with my coffee and like my notebook, like scratching stuff out and rewriting it and everything. Right. And then you finally get in the studio and you're like, I think I can make this work. We'll see, because it's kind of do or die at this point. So what do you find, like, where do you get your inspiration from for your lyrics? Like, do you kind of get it from real life, or like you just kind of, sing about pizza, like,
no,
like Attila in that one song?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm 100% Attila. Just partycore. Everything's about drinking, drugs, nightlife, for sure. No, I mean, for some of our songs, it's very world driven. I don't find myself very political, so to speak, but I have a lot of political opinions. So a lot of our lyrics, and it kind of coincides with the name Defiant, are very world focused, current event focused, especially because of how just dissatisfied with how the world climate is that a lot of people are. I think a lot of my lyrics speak to that. A lot of my lyrics also are historical. I'm really into history and old history and messed up history. It's really cool to me and really interesting to see how far we've come as a society, to going from thinking that throwing somebody into a lake and them floating means that they're a witch, to where we are now. But the more things change, the more they stay the same with other aspects. Also, literature is a really big part of my lyrics. I'm really into like dystopian novels, like George Orwell's 1984, Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World, The Giver, stuff like that. So I read a lot of books and I take a lot of inspiration from them too. So really, I'm just stealing successful authors' rights and their written work and putting it into songs.
Nice. That's cool though. It's crazy how like it's almost like the world is your canvas at that point, because you can literally pull inspiration from so many different things, past and present, even future, like what you want for the future in your lyrics. The one thing I love about music too is that you can almost get away with saying anything. Because it's in a song, and so people can kind of see it as harmless, at least in our culture. Like, I was in Greece last summer, and it was crazy because they actually considered, in like previous regimes, because Greece has gone through so many different like hostile takeovers, some different, since you're a history buff, I'm sure you may even know this. And at one point, music was actually outlawed because they considered music to be a rebellious thing, because people couldn't speak out against the government, but they would put certain things in songs and everybody knew who you were singing about. And so at one point they literally outlawed music, like no musical instruments, no music entirely.
If they outlawed Defiant, my life's good. Like I'm chilling after that. Means I did something right. I pissed the right person off. If they're powerful enough to get me banned.
It's like, yes, we're doing it right. It's like Rage Against the Machine, for real. So how do you think your fans like are affected by your music? Like, I guess what type of show do you like to put on for your fans, I guess is a better way to word it. Like, what do you want your fans to like experience through your music when they listen to your songs or when they come to your shows?
Well, when they come to our shows, that they're going to have a good time, and we don't take ourselves too seriously. So they shouldn't either. We will make fun of ourselves on stage. We will, you know. So, and the other part is to be part of it. Like, we talk directly to them as if they're up there with us. Like, I know Al's always talking to people like back and forth, like he's having a conversation with them while he's on stage. So, not just more that they're not any different than us, that they're there with us. We appreciate their support, and they're part of the family, and it's all of us together.
I think I forget who actually like wrote it down and said it, but it's a really cool thing when you're talking about like why someone like Bill Clinton is a great politician, which is why I think that Defiant is a great band, is because I think we do a really good job of, you know, we could play to, you know, 100 people, and I feel like we put on a performance where a fan feels like we are playing to them and only them. There's the way that Bill Clinton could talk to hundreds and hundreds of people in a stadium, and you would feel like he was having a conversation with you directly. I think we bring a really strong personal touch to our live shows, and then to just how we carry ourselves as people. We're really approachable, and I think people who come and see us and become fans of us really see that.
I definitely got that vibe. I loved you guys. I loved your energy on stage, but you were just so like chill off stage. You know what I mean? Like some people kind of like strut around and like, oh, I don't want to bother him, you know. And you guys were just all over the place, you know, just saying hi to everybody. And your drummer is a hoot.
Really, all just a bunch of dads.
He is so fun. Yep. So yeah, you guys put on such a good show, and you have such a good energy. It makes it easy to want to support you guys as a band, because it's just good people and good music. What would you say is your like proudest moment as an artist, either on stage or like favorite song you wrote?
Yeah. Favorite song we wrote.
Which one?
I don't know. I guess probably He's Watching always sticks with me, because it was kind of the first song that we wrote together as a band. Like, Al had a song. Actually, both of us had songs coming into the band, one song each, that we really we're passionate about. And the funny thing is, they aren't going to be on the CD until this next EP, and they're a little different than maybe they were at that time. But that was the first one we wrote together as a band, and I still think it has a great hook, and people seem to like it and have energy from it. So I would probably say He's Watching, just for that reason.
I think still for me, even to this day, is going to be the first time we opened for Kicks back in, was it the end of 2018 or beginning of 2019? Whichever.
Yeah.
So it was like our first like big show that we had played. Direct support right before them, not knowing if we were going to have enough time, you know, enough songs to fill the time slot. I had just gotten out of the hospital like a week and a half prior. Place was packed. We were all scared out of our minds, but to be able to just get up there and throw on a banger of a show, I think that's still got to be like one of my most proud moments, at least for me personally and for the band, where we all actually looked at each other and said, yeah, okay, we can put on a good show. We can do this. You know, let's start to be a little bit more serious and get a little bit more confidence in ourselves to make some really, really good music, really good shows.
Awesome. All right. So if you've never watched Late Nights with Kraevin, I like to do a little bit of non-traditional questions. So this is my disclaimer right now, in case your wives, your mothers, your children are watching. It is a late night show after all. So, you know, while we have covered all the things that inspire you and inspire your music, now we want to get down and dirty to the things that fans really want to know, right? Because we're rock stars and they want to know all about the rock star life. So What is, let's see here. What can we do? How old were you the first time you had sex?
Ooh, how old was I? 16? Yeah, I was 16.
Woo.
That
Still
was
in high school.
the big assumption there. How do you know I've had sex yet? Um,
Maybe you haven't. This is your time to reveal all. Maybe we could auction off your virginity like they used to, like back in the days. You know what I mean? Fund your next album or your next tour.
yeah.
Can we just say I'm a virgin? Can we auction on just?
Feel like I'm a secondary virgin. I have recommitted myself.
Yeah. Like I'm a born again virgin.
There you go.
I was probably 18. I would say. I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school, so I probably was a late bloomer for that Catholic guilt.
They sure know how to lay it on.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, a lot of my family was Catholic too, so I tried to be a good little girl. I'm making up for that now. All right, so where is the craziest place you've ever had sex?
In a room that wasn't mine. I'm very plain Jane. Sex is for the bedroom, maybe on the couch like once. I don't know. It's uncomfortable. I think there was an attempt once to do it in the car, but it was like a Ford Fiesta, so it was super small.
Yeah.
I'm like 6'2". I'm like, well, this isn't gonna work.
You've just come across the most boring punk band in the history of the world.
Honestly, like we're the most milquetoast people.
Nothing wrong with that. This is a safe space. No judgment here.
Oh, judgment! Oh, my dad.
Have you ever walked in on your parents, grandparents, another family member having sex?
Oh, constantly. This is actually a fun story. This is a fun story, right? So, growing up, I lived in an old 2-story farmhouse. So it was all beat up. It was ragtag, but I mean, it was home. And would not trade that experience for the world. It was an awesome house. It's still up. There's a lot of history behind that house. But one of the main problems with that house is that we were dog breeders in a small 2-story house. We bred border collies, so there's like 10 puppy border collies, along with the 5 that we owned all around this house. The second problem is that upstairs there were 4 rooms and 1 bathroom. Only 2 rooms, one of them being the bathroom and the one being my older brother's room, had doorknobs. So the rest of the doors were held shut by pressure and a prayer to whatever deity that you decided you wanted to believe. And then you have 5 dogs that just decide that every room is their room. So it was not a rare occurrence for me to be waking up, going to the bathroom, walking past my parents' bedroom to the door wide open, and there's a midnight spook show going on. And just walk back into my room and go to bed. It stopped being shocking after the first time because it's like, well, this is just life, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yes. I'm surprised I didn't just like run in there and just get like high five real quick and be like, good job, like good game, smack my dad on the ass and walk out again. Think you would respect me for that, or do you think you would be mortified?
Maybe a little both.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe that's why now you're just like, I prefer the bedroom. And
Sure, yeah, that's probably it.
like I saw way too much, and I don't want to scar people.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? Come on, you got any crazy stories?
I don't know that I've ever walked in on anybody having sex. Maybe one at a party, but that was just other kids, not like my parents. No, never my parents.
Lucky you, because those are things you just never forget. That's literally like my first that I can recall. I think it's like one of my first childhood memories is walking in on my parents. They were in the living room, and my mother was performing a certain sexual favor, and I was 4 years old, toddling in there, supposed to have been taking a nap. I'm like, I am not supposed to be seeing this. I don't know what I am seeing, but I am going back and I'm taking a nap. And sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, like she still doesn't know. She knows now. But yeah, they don't know about that.
Yike.
How has this affected your discussions with your therapist? It has a positive outcome on your life.
Yeah, it's like, I'm so scared. Like, no, it was crazy. And then when I realized later on, like I was very sheltered. I grew up in a very like religious family. So I didn't go to a Catholic school, but I went to a very like conservative Christian private school. And so I didn't know anything about sex. I thought like all babies came from like the Virgin Mary. An angel appears to you, okay, and says, hey, you're going to have a child. And then I was born by C-section. So I just thought, that doctor just sliced and pulled out the child, and that's how it happened, right? And then my mother's like, oh, she's, almost 13. She's probably going to get her period soon. I should probably explain to her before she thinks she's going to hemorrhage and die. So she explained to me, and I literally started screaming. And I was like, oh my God, like, because that image came to my head. And I remembered in Technicolor. And then I now know what my mother was doing and what my dad was doing and how I came to be born. And I was like, no, that's crazy. It's insane.
Not how babies.
Huh?
That's not how babies are.
No.
Babies are conceived.
No, that's not how they're born. But that's like kind of what leads up to the thing. Like all the things. I'm sitting here like, oh my God. But what's funny is I had like a whole nother moment. I was like, I don't know, in my 20s. And when that movie came out, Meet the Fockers.
Right.
My parents always had like a nap time on the weekends, and they would hang like this thing on the door. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, they take naps. We take naps. Like we're all supposed to take naps, right? And I'm like 20 something sitting in this movie theater, and Meet the Fockers movies on, and his parents have like, the hat or whatever it is they put on the door because they're fucking. And I have this like light bulb moment in the middle of the theater with like all my friends in college. And I'm like, oh my God, like all these years later, I realized what my parents were doing. They weren't napping.
No. Terrifying.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like it was terrible. Anyway, what is the most inappropriate place you've ever had a boner?
Taking my PSSAs.
Your what?
My PSSAs. It's a Pennsylvania thing. It's like a state aptitude test that you do in school like every couple of years. And then you have that really like fight or flight sensation because you're like, well, I'm in basketball shorts. I've got to hand in my test. I have maybe 3 actions that I can do here, and only one of them is going to be the least bit stealthy, or you just pry it up and do it. I don't remember what I did, but it was probably the wrong decision.
What about you, Joe?
Well, if Al keeps sweet dick, might be an Instagram live video here soon. Probably, yeah, definitely the classroom and being called to the chalkboard. And I think, was it Eddie Murphy? Somebody had a joke. I'll just take the 0. But yeah, definitely the classroom.
Yeah, that seems to be a common occurrence. We have a question submitted by one of our viewers. What is the most awkward sexual moment you have ever had?
I got choked out one time, and it wasn't like a fun, let's see if this works thing. It was like a reactionary PTSD thing.
Like during sex?
Yeah, so I was with someone, and I guess they had a trigger. I mean, I felt really bad. Like, first off, like it's like a completely justifiable thing with they had a trigger, and they just like both their hands put around my neck, and I was like, Jesus Christ. And it was like a super serious thing. Obviously it was talked about, everything's cool, this was years and years ago, but that was probably like the most awkward, like in the moment.
Well, I mean, you almost died having sex. What a way to go, right? Oh my God, that's crazy though.
That's a winner, honestly.
You have
PTSD triggers are no joke.
Almost died stories. You've got a lot of those.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm
No,
still here now, which is crazy.
mine would
Pardon?
probably. I got very violently ill in the middle and had to just get up and go home and leave
Oh no!
immediately. Had to leave the scene.
Did you like throw up on her or anything?
No, I got out of the room, but it was a dash, that is for sure. I remember that.
Well, at least you didn't, throw up on her or anything.
No.
That was very sweet of you. Was it literally just like, I gotta go and flee, and the poor girl was like, oh, what did I do? Like, I must have been really bad if he's like leaving.
Yeah, it was from that to a dead sprint in 5 seconds. Yes.
Wow. So did you ever talk to her again? Did it like work itself out, or did you just kind of leave it?
Oh no, she was my first wife actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Flee while you can. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't keep running. Problem, no.
Got 2 beautiful children.
Yes, I got.
At least you got some children out of it. That's all that matters, right?
Yep.
No, I love my kids too. It's like they're amazing, amazing children. And it's funny. I'm actually really good friends with their dad still and his wife. And it's funny. I'll be like, this one's you. They're like, nope, this one's you. Nope, this is, I blame you for this one. This one right here. Yeah. But it took a little while to get there, growing pains and all.
Yes, I'm the same way. We're fine now, but there was some edgy moments, that's for sure.
What?
It's so great being happily married.
Yes, rub it in over here.
To be young again.
Alan, Sarah. Absolutely.
I've been single 7 years. Dating now is like a whole nother thing. How long have you been married?
I've been married for 3 years. We've been together for 10. Christ, we've known each other since we were 5.
Wow.
Yeah. So. It's good.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then we have a little boy together.
Aww.
Now if she leaves me, she has to pay money.
It's like you're stuck with me now. Well, and you're stuck with each other anyway. Like, that's what I like told my kids. Like when they became teenagers, I was like, you need to take precautions with. I had a lot. I'm very open, obviously. I mean, I air my shit on here, but I've always been very open with my teenagers because it's like, hey, it's not just about protecting yourself from an unwanted child, but even if you want a child, you have to really be careful, like who you procreate with, because you're stuck with each other forever. It doesn't end. Not even when they're 18, 19, you still have like weddings and grandchildren. God forbid, please, no, not kids, no grandchildren for like ever. But like you're in each other's lives forever.
You are. True.
Yeah. So it's like, you really better like the person because that sucks. It can either be great or it can be not so great. So yeah. Let's see here. What is something non-sexual that turns you on about a person or like your partner?
No.
Eyes?
Yeah. Like just like really, really like soft expressed eyes. It's very nice. It's very comforting.
Mine would be confidence, I guess. Like, yeah, confident personality.
Confident personality?
Yeah. Too much insecurity. I've had my demons, we'll just say that.
Well, especially especially being a musician, it's really hard to find people that are secure in a relationship especially when you're on tour, when you're traveling a lot, and you can't always be available. So yeah, confidence is definitely a critical thing, because if they're insecure, it's like, oh my God, you're
Oh,
on the phone with them all the time while they're crying. Why didn't you call me? I was on stage. Why didn't you call me right after? Because I was signing posters. Like, yeah. How do how do you make it work? Happily married, and you guys, of course, it helps, I'm sure, when you're pretty much marrying your best friend. Like, they kind of know what they're in for when you
Constant
know.
communication, constant,
Yeah,
constant, like not just being like constantly texting or constantly calling, just like constantly being 100% honest, never holding anything back and never pulling punches, just being completely open and honest about how each other feels. With especially with a new baby, it's been definitely a challenge for me and my wife to see eye to eye on how things are going day to day. With the band being such a predominant part of my life, we both knew that there was going to have to be some sacrifices made, both on the band end and on the family end. And before we even decided that we were going to try to have a child, we really had to constantly have conversations on, are we going to be able to do this? Are we going to be able to make this work? In the event that I'm going to be gone for weeks at a time, is it going to be okay? We've come out stronger than ever for it, because we're just always open and honest with each other about each other's feelings. And if I'm ever far away for too long, or I'm spending too much time at the band, we reconversate, we compromise, and we regroup and figure out a way to make it work for everybody. Whether that's the band taking a couple, a month or two off so I can be home, or whether that is me leaving home for a little bit after a break, to kind of do my own thing, or letting my wife do her own things when I'm at home. you know so giving my wife space to be able to go and have fun with her friends and explore her activities that she likes to do. Me take the sun is definitely a help to that as well. But yeah, constant communication with your significant other, and make sure your significant other knows that whatever you're doing on stage and whatever you're doing off stage in a band setting, it's a performance. It is part of an act. It is to make people have fun, make people happy. It doesn't necessarily, if I'm looking at a girl when I'm playing and, making faces or pointing, it doesn't mean that I then want to take that person to the back room and sleep with them. I'm not Vince Neil. This isn't the 1980s. This isn't how things are done anymore. I'm putting a performance, I'm putting on a show. Same if, somebody wants to give me a hug off of stage, that doesn't mean there's anything between us. As long as you have those clear conversations and communications between your partner, things go a lot better. It was a really long-winded way of just saying fucking talk to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Communication is such a lost art now. We have so many ways to communicate, right? We've got video chats, we've got we've got this live stream, we've got cell phones that we have on us constantly. There's so many ways to communicate, and yet I feel like it's still becoming a lost art as far as like authentic and honest communication between people. Like, that's why I've been single 7 years. It's like, people are like, they just assume, oh yeah, I shot you a text. I'm like, I that's great. Like, you have to have like open and honest conversation, and some people don't know how to do that. Or even confrontations, they don't want to talk. It's like, oh, it's fine, everything's hunky-dory, but they don't want to tell you, oh, I don't like this, doesn't make me happy, or this makes me sad. And then people don't know how to receive that. They take it so personally and like defensively, and it's like, hey, I'm just communicating how I feel. I'm not like blaming you or whatever. I'm bringing it to you so we can have a conversation and be like, hey, this kind of made me feel a certain way. How can we relate to where I don't feel sad when this happens? Or, like, I don't know, like, it's just, everything just is painted with like this gloss of like, the social media. It's like everything has to be happy and sunshine and rainbows all the time. It's almost like people forget how to communicate about all the other shit. how do you handle that? Like, especially being long distance, like with like conflict resolution with your relationships and even with your band, like how do you like resolve those kinds of things?
Social media definitely makes it harder because people can have access to you 24/7, and there are people out there that feel like because of that they have the right to have access to you 24/7. So you have to put boundaries on people. And we've always been a band that prides ourselves on, like, if you're, I hate the word fan. I call them friends and family, but that can go the other direction where they feel like, oh, I'm friends and family. I can call them and text them at 2 a.m, and that's not cool. So you gotta put up boundaries. But as far as on the relationship, just echoing what Al said, being honest, like, I don't care if you pick up my phone. I have nothing to hide. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. You can look at it. You can have the password. I really don't care, because I'm confident in who and what I am. But it does. Social media makes it tough. I mean, people can do things that they probably wouldn't do in person and feel they're justified in doing it, and so it does make it tough. And as far as Al's thing, him having the baby, actually, Al's been in the band with me and Paul for, God, we've been together 4.5 years probably now. So, I mean, Al and Sarah are like family, and really in 2019 we went like gangbusters. We were playing every weekend, played every show. We wouldn't say no to a show. And them having the baby really helped us as a band, I think, be more selective in picking shows. And also, like, we're about to come up probably on another month and a half, 2 months of just time off. Part of it being because we're recording the next EP and getting ready to release that. And part of it just needing that downtime and family time, because I'm much more aware that any show I schedule or out of town run or anything like that, that impacts Sarah and Marcus, not just me, Al, Paul, and Paul. So it's helped me become more aware. We slowed down, took a breath, and we're much more select. I mean, heck, we still like to play, and I don't like to turn down shows because you never know if that's going to impact the next one offered. But we are much more selective, and we space things out a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, that I definitely do the same way with my band because I have a little man. He just turned 7, and I try and not stay away from him longer than like a week at a time. And so we try, and when we schedule our tours, we'll do like 4 days on, 3 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. And then whatever city I'm in on those days off, I fly him to me. It's so great. Now that he's older, I've like practiced flying him to like my parents. So he's used to flying on his own. And then now I can spend my days off with him. So that way it really cuts down on the time that he's away, because it can make it really hard, especially on the little kiddos, because it's like they appreciate it, but they don't understand exactly like why you're not here, and it's like when are you coming back and all that. Although it's great that Al has a wife, so at least the kid's home with mommy. Mine, they're either staying with family or my really, really close friends who've pretty much adopted him. So it's awesome to have that support when we're on the road for our children.
Yes.
And video chat is amazing. As your kids get older, how old is how is your son, Al?
He'll be 8 months here in like a week. Less than a week.
Nice.
Oh my God, this week he'll be 8 months, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, my son is like a pro on video chat already, that he doesn't even know how to talk on a normal phone. He'll keep trying to like hold up the phone and like show you something, and I'm like, it's just a call, like they can't see you. And he'll be like, oh, okay, hold on. So then he's like, describing the things.
Like, I think
Darren!
I guess
Hi,
it's
Darren! Darren's on and John's on. We love Curtain Call.
Hey,
Hi. John says, I miss the 80s. And Darren says, love you guys. Hope to see y'all soon.
Yes, absolutely.
So speaking of seeing you guys, when is the next time and place that we can all see Defiant?
2 weeks, November 10th.
Nice. Where?
Love Draft Brewing Company in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, with Texas Hippie Coalition and a boatload of other bands who I can't remember.
Nice. Texas is represented.
Texas Hippie Coalition is the big one. Other than that, we have a show on the 26th of November at Mickey's Black Box in Lidditz with Small Town Titans, which is like a big Pennsylvania local band. Now they're making the national run. They seem to be doing really successful with that. I forget when the one in December is already.
December 9th.
December 9th.
Doing a Salvation Army benefit here in Harrisburg with Eternal Frequency and Observe the 93rd and a couple other bands. So it's 10570X sponsored, like local band, Salvation Benefit Army benefit. So we're looking forward to all three those. So we're finishing it's 3 big shows really to finish the year out before we take some time.
Indeed.
That's awesome. Well, what do you guys just released like a documentary or something, didn't you? Like a little while back?
Yeah. At the beginning of this month, we released the Stand the Fuck Up documentary. It has footage of us playing a show at XL Live in Harrisburg, spliced in with some interview segments that we did at Scott's Church in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. It's really cool. It's really well put together. We're really happy with the product. It's on our YouTube channel. If you want to go watch it, you want to find out a little bit more about us. It'd be cool to watch that as well as hear some of our music in a live setting rather than on an EP. Everything's crisp cut and clean setting. I know some people are much more fans of live than they are of albums. So if that's your deal, we got all of the audio pulled directly from the boards, so it's crystal clear audio with that. All of our fuck ups included.
Fuck ups? No, it's all part of the show. Right?
That's how you know it's organic.
That's exactly right.
We didn't
Gives it character.
Yep.
The spice of life. All right. Before we end the show, I'm going to give a couple more questions, give people who are watching a chance to ask their own before we close. What is the most childish thing you still do?
I pick my nose. Like really bad. I pick my nose a lot. Like wherever. It doesn't matter. Like I'm at my best friend's funeral. I'm digging for gold. Looking in the casket for sure. That's probably the most childish thing I still do. Oh, and I baby talk to my wife. And sometimes I forget to turn it off. So then I'll baby talk to my mother. Doesn't work quite as well. It's not quite as cute when it's your mom.
No.
She's understandable though. She only hits me like 3 times.
What about you, Joe? Most childish thing you still do?
I still drink right from the bottles, drinks, whatever, out of the fridge. I don't care if anyone else is drinking out of it. I don't care if I have COVID. I'm drinking it right from the bottle.
Well, that's the luxury of, having your own stuff and paying for it, right?
True.
It's like, oh, well, you have to deal with my cooties. If not, just go buy your own, right? Darren is asking, when we're on tour, who do I get to cuddle with?
Me, I'll cuddle back in my sleep. When we were playing right after Metal in the Mountains in Pipestone, West Virginia, we were driving back and our bus broke down in the mountains of West Virginia. Super compassionate people in that area, thankfully, got us a tow in the middle of the night and got us into a hotel. So we were in a hotel. They didn't have enough rooms for all of us. One of us had to share a room. So me and Paul Cochran said, cool, we'll share a room. Neither of us cares. Apparently, Sleep Me was missing my wife because at around, I think it was like 4 a.m, Paul Cochran wakes up to me actively spooning him and rubbing his stomach. And he just kind of got up and went and made a coffee and went and smoked a cigarette. I stayed asleep, but apparently I'm a great cuddler when I'm sleeping. So
Compassionate people charged us $600 to tow us up the mountain.
yeah,
I thought they were passionate until I got the bill.
that's true.
Yeah. That's how that works, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. So you hear that, Darren? You can spoon Al, or Al will spoon you. He says it's me and you, Al.
Conscious me is little spoon 100% of the time. Apparently sleep me is big spoon. So we get to have best of both worlds.
Biggest pet peeves.
Unprofessionalism, like being late, or unprofessionalism is my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely can agree with that. Just be respectful. Anybody who's got a little bit too big of an ego kind of irritates me, or anybody that's really overconfident to a point of just being ridiculous. It can kind of get under my skin. I mean, it's fine. You do you. I'm not your dad, but maybe cool your jets around me and then we'll be friends.
What is a little known skill that you have?
I really am not a skilled person. I don't even think I play guitar or sing quite well. I don't know. I have a very weak, like not weak, the opposite of that. I guess a resistive gag reflex. So, like, I can like scratch the back.
You know what his secret skill is?
I mean, I guess if I ever like went to a gay bar, I'd be pretty successful.
Now Derek's really rooming with you.
Like,
it looks like there's a little more going on the tour bus, a little bromance brewing.
Able to go to the bathroom while also holding my son. I guess I can cook with him in my arms. Like, I'm finding that I'm getting very skillful at doing things with only one good arm, because the other arm always has him. So making his bottles and cooking. That's, but other than that, not really any good skills.
What about you, Joe?
I'm pretty good at basketball. People probably wouldn't. I mean, I'm tall, but I mean, they probably wouldn't guess that I would be athletic by looking. I can hoop.
That's awesome. Do you recall the moment you laughed the hardest in your life?
Oh, I laugh all the time. No, everything's funny. So, yeah, like, I don't know, Thursday, I probably laughed the hardest in my life. And I don't even remember what happened Thursday, but it was probably funny.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
We always laugh on stage.
Dude, we cackle. We fucking cackle.
Al and I have a little unspoken language on stage. We both catch each other's fuck ups and side eye each other and smack each other on the ass. So we're always laughing.
Yeah.
That's good. That's part of it. It's good that you guys have that. Like when I was on the last tour after we played with you guys and we were in Brooklyn, someone came up and they noticed like my band and we were like joking around and we were doing that stuff. And he's like, you don't know how good you have it, that you actually love the people that you're playing with, because I guess like his band, they don't even talk to each other. Like they barely get along. They just basically show up, they write songs together. And other than that, like, that's it. And I'm like, oh man, no, we're like doing barbecues and like they come to my kid's birthday. Like, even though they're like, they don't have kids, they're showing up at like my 7-year-old's little like Avenger party. It's like dressed, we're throwing like a superhero cape on them. It's like, I couldn't imagine just like being in a band with people that you don't really even get along with other than on stage. So it's really cool that you guys can like laugh together and stuff. So, final question, unless we have our viewers want to ask more. Most embarrassing song in your playlist and or guilty pleasure artist?
I love Lady Gaga. I think Gaga is killer. But I don't really think that it's like a guilty pleasure though, because she's really, really popular. Like I don't know, is it still like cringy to listen to ska music? Because I listen to ska a lot. So I mean, if like Real Big Fish is still like getting clowned around, maybe Real Big Fish.
That came on in the car today.
Good. All right, it's back. Fantastic. I'm back in the limelight, baby.
No, it's not on the radio.
Oh, on your playlist. Oh, okay.
It's embarrassing.
So that's embarrassing. Most embarrassing moment on stage?
Oh, I pooped myself on stage before.
What?
I just ate really bad, I guess, and I wasn't feeling that well. We played a show, and I do a lot of like really long, high screams, and I guess I just clenched wrong. Like, because I mean, you breathe correctly, you press from your diaphragm, so it's right from your stomach. So I guess I just pressed wrong, and I definitely pooped myself on stage. Nobody knew about it until like the next day. So
or now,
yeah, or right now,
or now.
Like we're talking.
This was like Phantom Power.
Oh,
like one of the first shows back from COVID. Yeah, for sure.
Just like shark, right? Like not.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It was just a shark, but I mean, it was like okay. I played the rest of the show. Apparently, very well.
So what'd you do after? Did you like have to go change, or did you just like go sneak off to the bathroom?
I went to the bathroom. Underwear was sacrificed. But pants are still good. So finished my business, cleaned myself up. You bury the underwear like underneath a little bit of trash, so nobody immediately knows that you pooped yourself. But I don't know. I don't think you're truly an adult until you poop yourself in public. I think that's like when you get like, or like you're just there, like you're just about like pants are like right above the knees and you start pooping. Like that's, I feel like when you truly hit adulthood, when you have those sorts of crises. So that's good. That's good. Yeah, but I mean, like, is that embarrassing? Sure, maybe to some people, but I don't really get embarrassed. I mess up on stage all the time. I mess up like words of my songs all the time. I just will mush mouth lines. I'm never embarrassed by it. It's fun. It's part of being, in a live environment. Nothing is perfect. You're supposed to fuck up, and it's how you react to those that really proves that you're a confident musician or a not confident musician. Because if you mess up and you freeze and you bring major attention to the fact that you just fucked up, you're not confident in your abilities. If you just mess up and it's already in the past, you're already through it. You shows true confidence in your craft, and you're comfortable in your skin.
That is very true. Yeah, I don't really ever get embarrassed either. It's just I just kind of go with it. Like shit happens, literally, and you just throw your underwear and move on with your day. Apparently. But I don't know.
I'll passed out on stage before. Like I had a heat stroke on stage one time and passed out. It's cool.
That's almost happened to me during a music video shoot, because when you're like on stage, you're on stage like a half hour, maybe an hour at most, running around getting crazy. And we were doing a music video shoot, and it was like a live show kind of deal. We were doing it at a venue here in Austin, and it's like 2 or 3 hours of over and over and over and over and over instead of 30 minutes or an hour. And it was like a hot July day. I had this like crazy idea to wear all this leather, and leather doesn't breathe, and I'm sweating, and it's like, it was not pretty. I almost fainted. I didn't. And then after that, I was like, I am buying fans for the stage. So now we have 3 across the stage, and it saves us. But yeah, fainting is not
more than most.
All right. Well, we're going to close for now because we're almost on an hour. Like parting words for your fans. What is your best piece of advice that you could offer those to your that are aspiring either to be musicians or anything creative? What would you say to everyone out there watching?
Just do it. Don't worry about gear. Don't worry about your ability. Don't worry about your image or anything. If you have a desire to make music and write music, just write it. Just do it. Find like-minded people and do it with them. If you can't find like-minded people, do it yourself. There's always room for more music, and there's always a crowd for any sound, bar none. I mean, if you really, really doubt your abilities, and think that there's not a sound for you, people will literally listen to entire albums of two guys smashing trash cans together over reverb and think it's art. So you really can put anything together, and somebody is going to like it. So if you want to write music and you want to make music, just do it.
Awesome. That's like actually really, really good advice. Joe, got anything?
Fail a lot. Because if you don't fail, you don't learn, and you're not trying. So fail a lot. And don't be afraid to throw something out there. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be scared. I mean, trust me, there's songs in our catalog I cringe that somebody wants to play. I don't really want to play them anymore. And I wrote some of them. And that's okay. Somebody likes them, and that's good. I may not anymore, but so you just gotta, like you said, write songs. Don't think you have to be. I would rather see somebody that's passionate and average at their instrument than a master and boring.
That's true. I'm gonna steal that and put it on a t-shirt.
You get 2% royalties.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. And remind everybody, in case they didn't catch it the first time around, how can they stream your music and like and follow you? Where can they find you?
Search Defiant 17055 on everything. That's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever you can stream music from. We're on there. Our YouTube channel, Defiant 17055. All of our music videos are on there. We have the Defiant documentary, as well as our newest music video for our newest single, Viva La Revolution. If you're a fan of A Clockwork Orange, you'll absolutely love it. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Come find us, tag us and stuff, message us. We'll be in touch.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much again. Everyone, this is Defiant, live from Pennsylvania. Go like, go follow, go check out their music, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Yeah.